Ever had that stomach-sinking moment when you hear, "Your kid pushed someone today?" Or when a teacher calls about mean behavior, and you think, "Wait, my kid?" You're not alone. Today, we're digging into what to do if your child is the bully. Practical, clinical, and actually doable. Stick with me. We'll cover preschool through high school, home moves you can start today, and what schools should do too. 2 parts. Parents first, school staff second. Let's go. Welcome. I'm Fatima, a child and adolescent psychologist. I work with kids and teens to help parents manage challenging behaviors, build emotional skills, and keep the family calm and connected. Let's clear this up first. What is bullying, really? Bullying isn't always a punch or a shove. It's repeated, intentional harm, physical, verbal, online, and then there's the social kind. When kids leave someone out, whisper about them, or embarrass them to feel powerful. Kids can bully to get power, fit in, or because they're copying what they saw. Picture the last time your kid said something hurtful. Maybe a mean nickname. Got it? Okay, stay with that feeling. Clarity without rage. Step 1. Calm, direct message. Don't panic. Don't gaslight. Say, "I take this seriously. Hitting, teasing, excluding is not okay at our house." That clear boundary matters more than an emotional explosion. For example, "I'm upset, but I need to understand what happened. We have a family rule. We don't hurt others. We'll fix this together." Ask, listen, investigate. Let your child tell their side. Ask neutrally, "Tell me what happened from start to finish." Often kids try to justify what they did. So listen for the motive. Maybe it's pressure from friends, copying someone else, jealousy, or just testing limits. Here's the thing. Most kids who bully aren't just mean. They're trying to fix a feeling they can't name. Maybe they feel powerless somewhere else, like at home or online. Maybe they've been bullied and are copying what they saw. Some kids struggle with emotional control or empathy because no one's modeled it clearly yet. Others do it to fit in. That moment when the group laughs and they finally feel seen. So our job as parents isn't to label, it's to uncover why. Because when we understand the why, we can change the how. You tell me, which of these reasons might fit your child right now? Don't judge, just note it. Let's go age by age. What actually works in real life? For preschoolers around 3 to 5, keep it simple. Give an immediate timeout, a short explanation, then practice what to do instead. Try saying, "Hands keep people safe, hitting stops play." We'll take a 3-minute calm break. Then we'll practice asking, "Can I play?" For elementary kids, 6 to 12, use clear rules, quick and consistent consequences, and help them make things right. You might say, "You took Maya's toy on purpose." That's not okay. You'll lose screen time for today, and tomorrow you'll give her a helper note and say, "I'm sorry." For middle schoolers around 13 to 15, coach their social skills, make them take responsibility, and include a short talk with a counselor if needed. Try this. I want you to write down what happened, why it happened, and how you'll make it right. Then we'll meet your teacher together. And for high schoolers, 15 to 18, focus on real responsibility, restorative actions, and meaningful consequences. Things that actually connect to the real world. Say something like, "This behavior can hurt your future." You'll meet with the counselor and the student you hurt, and you'll listen to how it affected them. All right, your turn. Quick challenge. Pick the one that fits your child's age and say it out loud right now. Did that feel doable? Here's the big one. Modeling, praising, and supervising. Basically, show it, name it, watch it. Kids copy what we do, not just what we say. So show empathy. When you mess up, apologize. And catch them doing something kind. Then name it. Like, "I loved how you let Sam sit with you today. That was really kind." Keep an eye on who they hang out with. Set clear screen time rules and once in a while check those DMs, just to stay connected. Think of one praise line you could say to your kid tonight. Got it? Perfect. Make sure you actually use it. The internet changes the rules. So here's what to do when bullying goes online. If your child's being mean online, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Sit with them and scroll through what happened. Ask, show me what you posted or sent. Use it as a teaching moment. Talk about how words online can hit even harder than words in person. Help them clean it up, delete the hurtful stuff, block or unfollow if needed, and reset privacy settings together. Make it clear. Online actions leave a trail, and they matter in the real world too. Challenge time. Check your kids' social app together tonight. Just one. What kind of energy are they putting out there? Sometimes it's more than just behavior. Here's how to know when it's time to bring in a professional. If you start noticing big mood swings, falling grades, your kid pulling away, or if the bullying keeps happening or gets really harsh, that's your cue to bring in a child or teen therapist. Sometimes bullying behavior hides deeper stuff, like anxiety, past trauma, or habits they've picked up and can't shake on their own. Quick check. Do you even know your school counselor's name? If not, make a note right now to call the school. So to wrap it up for parents, real change comes from a simple formula. Clear rules, calm boundaries, age-appropriate consequences, repair when harm's done, and consistent modeling. Here's your last challenge. Pick one of those 5 things and actually plan to do it this week. Commit to it. Okay, schools, you're a hub. Kids spend half their waking hours here. The right school response reduces bullying dramatically. As a teacher or staffer, when was the last time you saw subtle exclusion? Hold that image. If you pictured a moment of subtle exclusion, that quiet social freeze, remember, it starts small, but it grows fast if ignored. That's why every school needs structure, not just good intentions. Step 1 for schools. Build a culture where bullying isn't ignored, and back it up with clear written rules everyone knows. Have written rules, visible posters, and consistent enforcement. Train every staff member, not just teachers, about what counts as bullying and how to respond. If your school has a written anti-bullying policy, find where it's posted. If not, raise it at the next staff meeting. Now it's time to go beyond rules. Teach empathy, self-control, and how to be a safe bystander. These are the real skills that change behavior. Social and emotional learning. That means teaching kids how to understand feelings, theirs and others. How to solve conflicts without aggression. And how to manage those big emotions before they explode. Then, teach them how to act when they see bullying. We call that bystander intervention, but it's really just teaching kids what to say in those tricky moments. Simple words can do a lot. Like, stop, that's not cool. Or, hey, are you okay? When students know how to speak up safely, bullying loses its power. Challenge time. Think of one short, 1-minute role play you could teach your students today, where they practice what to say if they see bullying. Got one? Great. Add it to your next lesson. All right, what happens right there when bullying is actually happening? Here's how to step in fast and smart. 1. Stop it safely. Adult steps in. 2. Separate and secure. Keep students safe. 3. Listen privately. Get accounts from victim, bully, witnesses. 4. Document dates, times, statements, screenshots for cyber cases. 5. Follow policy. Apply appropriate consequences and restorative steps. 6. Support. Counselor follows up with victim and bully. Role play in your head. What's your first sentence when you step into a fight? Rehearse it. For older students, try something called a restorative circle. It's a guided conversation where the student who caused harm actually listens to how their actions affected others, then takes steps to make things right and rebuild trust. It's powerful stuff. And remember, you can still have consequences where needed. It's not one or the other. They work best together. Think about your school. Would your administrator support doing a restorative circle? If not, maybe it's time to suggest a small pilot, just to see how it goes. Now, let's talk about online behavior. Cyberbullying. When it happens, don't ignore it or handle it quietly. Collect the electronic evidence, screenshots, messages, anything that shows what really happened. Then reach out to the families involved and work with the platforms to remove harmful content. And if there are threats or anything illegal, bring in law enforcement. Safety always comes first. Most important, make sure every staff member knows how to recognize online cruelty because it often spills over into school life. Quick check. Does your school have a clear cyberbullying reporting chart or flow? If not, create a simple one-page version. Schools can't do this alone. Families and the community are key. Keep communication open and transparent. When an incident happens, focus meetings on repair and learning, not blame or punishment. Offer parent workshops where families learn the same language teachers use at school. That way, kids hear one consistent message at home and in class. Write down 2 local community resources or organizations you could invite for your next parent workshop. Got them? Nice. And finally, track what's really happening. Don't just respond, collect data. Look at when and where bullying happens. Which hallways, which times of day, which classes. Use that information to make smart changes. Adjust supervision, add adult presence, or tweak your school policies. Think about your own school. Name one hotspot that needs more adult supervision. Write it down. Bullying from our own kids. It's painful to face, but it's fixable. For parents, set clear, non-negotiable rules, guide age-appropriate repair, and model real kindness. For schools, build strong policies, teach social skills, step in early, and use restorative practices that actually rebuild trust. When families and schools work together, we don't just stop harm. We teach kids better ways to belong. If this helped you, grab the printable scripts and the classroom one-pager down in the description. And don't forget to subscribe for more evidence-based parenting and school psychology tips. And one last tiny step. Type one action you're going to take today in the comments. Hold yourself accountable. Thanks for watching. See you soon.